Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. Today we're going to be covering over Great Tusk Mill, one of the new control decks in our post-rotation metagame. In this video, I'll be showing my deck list, the strategy, and some gameplay. So if you want to mill your way to victory, this is certainly going to be the video for you. If you haven't already, give this video a like, share, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into this deck list. Great Tusk is one of the few new archetypes that's actually seeing some success from Temporal forces, and the goal is going to be us using an ancient supporter and really milling the top 4 cards from our opponent's deck every single turn. There's a lot of different moving pieces on in this deck, so I will be jumping through the pieces one by one in the strategy section of this video, so stay tuned for that. But if you need any of the cards for this deck, you can copy and paste the list from the description right into PTCG Live, see if you're missing anything, or if you're building the deck in real life, see which cards you need to acquire, and pick them up from our sponsors at Kayfabe and PTCGL Store. We have discount codes and links available in the description, so certainly check that out. This deck's really cool, and I want to dive into it, so let's jump into the strategy. Kicking things off, we have Great Tusk. Now, Great Tusk is going to be the biggest card that we have in our deck because it's going to be our main attacker. We want to use lands collapse turn after turn, and we get to discard the top cards of our opponent's deck, but if we play an ancient supporter card during our turn, we get to discard an additional 3 cards to discard 4 cards total. As your opponent plays through cards with their deck, or if we use a card like Counter Catcher to bring them into a tough position where they might not be able to attack us every single turn, we might be able to deck out our opponent to get to our win con. We're not traditionally drawing prize cards, we are trying to get our opponent down to 0 cards in their deck, one of the rare win cons in Pokemon. Professor Sada's Vitality not only activates the additional discard of lands collapse, but we get to accelerate energies to our ancient Pokemon, which Great Tusk does have that ancient stamp on it, meaning we can accelerate energies to it and draw cards. We also have the new Explorer's Guidance, which allows us to look at the top 6 cards of our deck and put 2 of them into our hand. We might be able to get some fighting energies in our discard pile, grab a double turbo energy, or grab anything else that we want to get set up. We can increase our HP by using the new Hero's Cape, or by using either Ancient Booster Energy Capsule or Bravery Charm to really increase the HP of our Pokemon that we have in play. Pidgeot V might seem like an interesting card in this deck, and sometimes you might see this to put 4 Seal Stone on, which might be an additional card we want to add to this deck. However, when you're discarding cards with Explorer's Guidance, you might not necessarily have a card you want to search for. In this case, we're using Pidgeot V so that we can always put it into our deck to avoid decking out. When you're playing a card like Explorer's Guidance, you mill through your deck very quickly, and you might pitch cards over and over and over again, so Pidgeot V means that we will never deck out and our opponent might. We also have a Comfey here, which you'll only see in Lost Zone box decks typically, but with Rescue Board, we can slap on Rescue Board and have a free pivot after every single knockout, and look at the top cards of our deck, further allowing us to draw into cards we need. Radiant Greninja pairs excellently with Professor Sada's Vitality to get those energies in the discard pile, and making sure that our deck is squeaky clean and consistent. Mimikyu is sometimes just a win con in itself because your opponent might have no Pokemon or very few Pokemon that can knock out a Pokemon EX or that are a Pokemon EX or a Pokemon V. So a deck like Charizard EX might not be able to get through Safeguard if they do not play Charmeleon or another Pokemon that can attack through. Most of the other cards in this deck are either going to be Artazon or Nest Ball to search out our Pokemon, or it's Erika's Invitation to disrupt our opponent if we have anything else going on. If you have any further questions about this deck, let me know in the comments below. We do get back to all comments. Totally would love to have a discussion, but I do want to jump to some gameplay, and we'll see what kind of deck we can hit on PTCG Live. Alright, so we're going to call the coin flip and see how it goes. I'm pretty sure we want to go second against whatever we want to go so we can start milling as early as turn 1. So we'll let our opponent go first. A lot of decks want to go second anyways, so I think cutting them off of their ideal start most of the time is going to be fantastic. Hopefully we're able to attack as early as turn 1. We have the Earthen Vessel, so yeah, we're going to totally be able to get there. Are we going to be able to get out the Comfey active? I don't think so. So let's start off with the Great Tusk. I think that's going to be our ideal start because we are able to use our Professor Sada's as early as turn 1 using Earthen Vessel to get in there. Playing against the homie King Dre Cloud. If you haven't got a chance to check them out on Twitch or on social media, be sure to check them out. One of the best players. Okay, so we're playing against Charmander, which should be one of the biggest decks available in format, and we should have a pretty good matchup against here. I think what we should be doing here first is we need to be using Earthen Vessel. We have to discard a card in some capacity. I think the best card for us to discard right now is probably going to be Comfey. Because I want to get out another Great Tusk. Actually, I think I'm going to go after Counter Catcher here first. Because we have a few Counter Catchers, and I want to have all these other cards. Let's use Earthen Vessel, let's grab these 2 Fightings, and let's use the opportunity to search through our deck. Looking like we prize a Professor Sada's, which is going to happen. We do have some Pal Pads in this deck and some other cards. We really want to get an Ancient Booster Energy Capsule or a Bravery Charm or a Hero's Cape on this Great Tusk, so we aren't getting knocked out. Since we're not drawing prize cards, Charizard cannot scale its damage. We're going to go Nest Ball. We're going to just grab out the Great Tusk here. We also prize Mimikyu, which is going to be quite tough, but we do have Hisuian Heavy Ball for that. And let's go like this. I'm going to go ahead, concealed cards, pitch away a Fighting Energy. And I think our best opportunity here is we only have the 1 Fighting Energy, so let's use the Professor Sada's. We have quite a few ancient supporters in our hand, so we're chilling with that. Didn't really get everything else we wanted, but we're going to go ahead here and slap on the Fighting Energy. We're going to go ahead here and use Comfey. And if Dre doesn't knock us out next turn, we're just going to go ahead and use Explorer's Guidance to dig deeper into the deck. So let's go ahead, Lands Collapse, let's rip some cards. A Zard, an Iono, like nothing crazy here, but like they are losing resources every single time that we discard. We'll have to see what Dre's able to get. Looks like our Great Tusk is just going to get back to getting knocked out here. So this might be a little bit tough. Not the greatest start for Dre, but still like enough where he just needs Charizard every single turn. At least this is going to activate our counter catchers. We'll have to see how that plays out. Probably going to send up Comfey here while we set up our other 2 Great Tusks, because I'm okay to take a turn off. I think that makes a lot of sense. And Dre has all these cool bling cards. If you're trying to get these bling cards, you're going to need some PTCG Live credits. There'd be a great time to use code TSS5 to save 5% off at PTCGL store. Just buy 400 codes. That's the best way to do it. So there's a knockout on the Great Tusk. Dre's going crazy. Let's go ahead and send up Comfey, because we can't even determine that we're going to get an energy here. Yeah, we're just going to go Comfey here. We'll see. Hopefully we can get Jet Energy or something else like that. Hero's Cape would have been fantastic. 1 turn too late. Before we do anything else, I think it's better for us to use our supporter first so we see more cards. We're just going to go ahead and power up these energies onto the Great Tusks. And the double turbo doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get there. Let's go ahead and Flower Select here. The Jet Energy means that we are able to attack those, so that's kind of cool. So I'm going to go Jet Energy onto Great Tusk. I think what I want to do is go Ancient Booster Energy Capsule when it comes to this kind of Pokemon. Just because Dre cannot knock me out. I think that seems pretty good. I also want to put Hero's Cape on the other one. So we'll just keep that one and line them up like that. So if Dre even decides to boss around to knock it out, I want to make sure that we got some options. But don't want to double check here. I'll use Super Rod when we have 2 in the discard pile. But at least I know that we have Lands Collapse for the next couple turns. Discarding a lot of Dre's support cards, so hopefully that's like slowing him down a little bit. Another card that I wouldn't even hate having in this list is a Technical Machine Devo. But that's totally fine. So this is going to put a lot of our supporters at the bottom of our deck. We might not necessarily have a great answer here. So I think what Dre's going to do is hit us. And that seems totally fine. He might be able to get a Lost Vacuum in the future and try to take another like prize card. The deck can certainly slow down a little bit when it comes down to this point. Prime Catcher, okay. I'm okay with Prime Catcher. I'm not entirely sure what he's going to go after. Oh, okay, just this other Great Tusk. Does he have a way to retreat? Okay, so he's going to go Vacuum. This is the last time that Dre's ever going to get a one-shot on one of our Pokemon. It doesn't really matter between the Hero's Cape and the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule or anything else like that. And since we already have an energy in our hand, I'm just going to send up the Comfey so we can actually get a few more cards here. I don't want to put ourselves in a position where, like I want to be able to see as many cards as possible, and we need to play an Ancient Supporter this turn for sure. Artazon works out fantastic. I know that we have... I don't think we prized another Great Tusk, so in order to, like, I could be wrong. I don't think we prize one, though. There's our Great Tusk. So we have the Great Tusk. We have the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule. Before putting that down, like, we've already shuffled our deck from the Iono, which means that there's a higher chance of us seeing a supporter card of some sort. So what I'm going to do here first is I'm going to go flower selecting, see if I get an energy of some sort or a way to retreat. I have to go for the Explorer's Guidance. So now we don't need to worry about the Pokégear or anything else like that. Next step that I'm going to be doing is playing the Explorer's Guidance, seeing what we get. I want Pidgeot. I want Counter Catcher. I kind of want the Explorer's Guidance too, but like I think I'll be able to dig for those later on in the game. Probably could have like discarded the Pidgeot. That would have put it in a little bit better because we could have got it back with Super Rod. I'm just going to go ahead here and Counter Catcher up the Manaphy, so there's a little bit more mobility there. Still, like, not a lot that I can be doing here, so let's go ahead. Retreat the Comfey. Hopefully we're set for a few turns, and I'm able to just go Ancient Booster Energy Capsule there, giving us a little bit more HP. And let's rip some cards from Dre's deck again. Hopefully it's some energies. So you can see his discard pile's really kind of like picking up, and I might be able to go Great Tusk, Great Tusk, Great Tusk. So there's the energy. He's probably just going to retreat into a Zard. Probably only playing the one Lost Vacuum, so each Great Tusk is going to be a few cards when it comes down to it. Have wasted a little bit more resource than I wanted to this game. Again, I think the Pidgeot was a little bit of a mistake. Either grabbing the Explorer's Guidance or the Counter Catcher would have been a little bit better. But we'll have to see how it plays out as we kind of go on here. So there's the 180. Definitely not a knockout. And I don't want to, like, use... Like, I guess, like... We want to use... I think I want to use the Pokégear first. So there's our Explorer's Guidance. I don't want to waste anything else by using Super Rod yet, so let's use Explorer's Guidance. I definitely need this. Jet Energy is not terrible. Like, Professor Sada's is really good, so I want to go Professor Sada's first. I don't know if I care about Super Rod in any capacity, and I already have a Brave Charm in my hand, so I'm going to just go ahead and grab a Jet Energy, because that could be quite good for us. I don't think there's much else that I want to be doing when it comes down to this hand, so we're going to go ahead and pitch those cards. And I'm going to go Super Rod to get back Great Tusk Energy, because we can always Sada after Dre gets a knockout here. We're going to go ahead and put Artazon down. You could also drop an Iono or a Rock, like, or I was about to say Roxanne. You could drop any of those cards at any given point. We can't avoid getting a knockout. Like, we can't, we could retreat out of this, I guess, but I don't want to, like, he still has 4 prize cards to go, so I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and just slap this down here onto this Great Tusk. And I'm just going to go for a Bravery Charm there, and we're just going to go for a Lands Collapse. So a lot of these resources are definitely going away. The Judge is really interesting. We're down to 19 cards left on the deck, and I'm assuming that Dre is just going to go ahead and take a knockout here, likely due to having not a lot of other options. So there's a knockout. We still have quite a few turns. I have not drawn into the Pal Pads yet. And this would be a really awkward time to be like, yeah, we prized all our Pal Pads, and I just didn't notice. But there's a Pal Pad. So what we want to be doing here first is using Artazon to make sure that we're able to grab out our other Great Tusk. And since we have 2 Sadas already, Sada is the card that we want to have more throughout the later game, because Explorer's Guidance isn't really going to search for much. So we're going to use the Pal Pad first to put Sadas back into the deck before we go ahead and use our Sada, so we can have a chance to draw into them. Still haven't got that Rescue Board that could get Comfey, but we still have Jet Energy if worse comes to worse. So let's go ahead and go Professor Sada's. We're going to grab the 2 energies that we have here, and we're going to draw some cards. The Rescue Board, to me, seems pretty good if we have an opportunity to play that. And yeah, I think I'm just going to put... I'm just going to double check his discard pile. When you're playing a deck like this, you want to see what you have. We've discarded 3 Ionos, and we've discarded a Judge. I don't think Dre has anything that can affect our hand, so I'm just going to go ahead and play the Lands Collapse, because we met the requirement of using those cards. of using the Ancient Supporter. So we discarded Super Rod. That's actually like super good for us. And we're getting down to a decent bit of energies. So with Dre only having 13 cards left in his deck, I think we're in a pretty like winning position. There's the other Super Rod, so everything else at this point. Charizard wouldn't play more than two Super Rods if I ever had an idea. So I think Dre's almost out of options. And considering that he's played one boss, I'd like to rip one more boss if that's an opportunity. Oh, just going to go boss after this Great Tusk probably on the bench. I think he's really thinking about what's the best thing to bring up. Oh, the Radiant Greninja. Interesting. This gives us a little bit more mobility when it comes down to it. I don't know if he's played a switching card or anything else like that. He's played a Prime Catcher. We'll send up the Comfey because this is where we have the Rescue Board for. And we drew into the Explorer's Guidance. Next stop for us is going to be using... There's no set order of our deck. There's no Great Tusk. So the best option for us is to actually start off by using the flower selecting, seeing what we can get going on here. Double turbo, double turbo. I think at this point I'm fine with using Explorer's Guidance, or maybe I want to risk... there's not a lot of options that we might be able to hit here with Erika's Invitation, but Erika's Invitation might actually be worthwhile. I want to double check with their deck one time just to see what else we have left in here. There's really not too much else, so I think I might just go for the Explorer's Guidance to try to push for this like 4-4-4 because like we're getting pretty close to like winning this game. So let's use Explorer's Guidance. We're gonna grab Sada's and we're gonna grab Fighting Energy. That was actually a huge hit because now we have pretty much everything that we want. I'm gonna go ahead and retreat here into this Great Tusk now. And we want to make sure that we can like try to push these Great Tusks as far as possible. We are at 4 cards, so just in case some lists are playing Chi-Yu, I don't want to like accidentally deck out. Let's use Land's Collapse, ripping another 4 cards from Jay's deck. The switch was actually huge there for us, meaning that we might be able to Erika's Dre at some point in the future. We're like 2-3 turns away, depending on what Dre does, to just winning this game. He is down to 2 prize cards, so if he does naturally have a boss in his hands, we could be in a really awkward situation. I don't know if we'll actually get there or not, though. He'd have to have, like, boss. I think our best situation here is to now use the... We don't have the energies in our discard pile. So I think that's, like, going to be something that's really awkward. I'm going to have to retreat this Great Tusk. So we're going to go ahead, retreat, send up Great Tusk. We're going to go ahead and play our Professor Sada's. We're going to attach an energy here. That gets us everything available in our deck. And we're going to go ahead and put Pidgeot so that we avoid decking out. So this is why we play the Pidgeots. We already have a Professor Sada's in our hand, so I'm feeling kind of okay about that. And we're going to try to pitch some more cards out of... Like, everything that we have is at this point is everything that we have. So let's go ahead and go Land's Collapse. And we're going to pitch another 4 cards from Dre's deck. There's another Fire Energy. He's going to draw for his turn. And if he doesn't play boss, I think we win this game. We'll have to see how it plays out. I think it's just going to be as simple as using Burning Darkness. I think it's some really close gameplay. Like, Charizard's still a very powerful deck, regardless of however we put it. So I think we're just going to get a Burning Darkness off here. I hope. And I'm not really worried about how it ends up working out here. I might actually just go Erika's because he draws for his turn and then we win the game. So I think that's what I'd like to do is 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 2 energies there. So I think since we're discarding 1 card anyways, actually it still might be better for us just to discard the 2 cards because it doesn't change anything. Okay, so I'm going to go... ahead and I'm going to retreat this into Great Tusk. And then I could play Professor Sada's to get some energies back onto our Pokemon. I'd rather have the energies on the Pokemon that have more HP. I don't get to draw the +3. Pidgeot goes back into my deck. Or actually, I think I'd just rather go Pal Pad here. Do I have fighting energies in my discard pile? I do, so I'm going to go ahead and go Pal Pad to go put back Sada. And then we're just going to go ahead and go for Lands Collapse. If Dre has a Lost Vacuum, he wins the game. But otherwise, he's just going to be down to 1 card left in his deck. And we're going to be able to Lands Collapse to absolutely deck him out. Very close. You can see that like these 180s certainly add up. We'll have to see what happens. There's the Buddy Poffin. I think he's just searching through his options. We got to watch out. If I think like Iono is something that like if you have two little cards in your hand, like Iono for 6 would just be really tough. At this case, we can go ahead and see what Dre would have in his deck. So let's just go ahead here and Comfey has free retreat. So at this point, if he had more than 1 card, we could totally get there. I want to see what Erika's he had in his hands. Yeah, so just ran out of like all resources, and we're just gonna go ahead and retreat here with Lands Collapse and rip the last card from his deck. So Nest Ball didn't have any resources left. He tries to draw for his turn, and he's gonna draw 0, meaning we win the game. Really close game. Good game, Dre. Again, check him out on social media, his Twitch channel, all that great stuff, and sometimes on the Shuffle Squad's main YouTube channel. As you can see, any deck that's able to take down the top best deck in format, Charizard EX, has a place in the metagame. Is it currently a top 10 deck? It's really close if it's not, and I'd say it's certainly within the top 15 decks if I was being extra safe, but it's probably closer to the top 10. Great Tusk isn't always going to be the easiest to play, and you do need a lot of pieces to make it moving. You can miss pieces, you can miss a crucial supporter, or it's also not necessarily the easiest deck to play. But overall, it is a really cool deck, and you saw we were able to take down Charizard in some very interesting gameplay, milling our opponent out. If you want to be that one player that plays that mill deck, you certainly have the option. Again, list is available in the description. Pick up any of the cards from our sponsors at Kayfabe, at PTCGL Store. Check our description for that. Or if you want to help support us, you can support us by picking up some Ultimate Guard products. I store a lot of my decks in these boulders. I like the 60 plus because they store really nicely in the Omni Hives. And like a lot of Ultimate Guard products, they are absolutely solid. Like I can toss these around all day, travel around the world with them. Certainly works out there. If you haven't already, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, and let us know in the comments what you think about this deck. Would certainly be fantastic. Beyond that, if you're trying to get better at Pokemon, hit me up at Metafy for some Pokemon TCG coaching. Metafy.gg/@ZachLasage. Love to help you out. I'll catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great one. Want to support the Shuffle Squad? Be sure to check out all of our sponsors in the description to pick up Pokemon TCG singles, sealed, and PTCG live codes. You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.